Hello everyone and welcome to this brand new Aqua video. Aqua, comparing some requests and considering today's date, June 9th. I am going to make a typically Spanish drink. A subscriber already asked for it, which is sangria. The sangria, the classic drink from Spain. Well, sangria. What is the history of sangria? Back then the Romans used to make. They fused wine with herbs, like we saw with vermouth, the Hippocras wine back then. They made wine in summer, macerating pears, apples, and oranges in it. This is what they called Hippocras. It is the ancestor of sangria. We can trace it back to the 2nd century, right? Well, let's move forward in time. Around the 12th and 13th centuries, in the areas of the Camino de Santiago, La Rioja, Fintas, and the northern part of Castile, they began crafting this Roman tradition drink which, over time, would eventually evolve into what we know as sangria. So, sangria. Why is sangria famous? Technically, it is a punch. We saw in the Christmas punch that we made it in a pitcher. These are drinks meant to be served to several people. They can be prepared individually, but they are usually prepared in large or small batches. For many people, to provide service for 4, 6, or 7 people. Sangria. How much do you make for sangria? Let's go back. Closer in time, 1964. Good. In New York, there is a fair, an international fair, and Spain is going to participate with a pavilion. During that era, the Minister of Tourism was Fraga Iribarren, right? From 62 to 69, the precursor of everything that came after the great Spanish tourism boom in the 70s. Well, it turns out they set up a pavilion, the Spanish pavilion. And besides the cultural area, let us say, as a window for Spain to the world, especially in the Anglo-American world. Beyond the cultural zone, where they take, for example, a replica of the Santa Maria Caravel to the port of New York, where they take a replica of the Lady of Elche, where they bring a replica or perhaps the Tizona of the Cid, the sword of the Cid Campeador, and where they bring paintings by Goya, by Velázquez. Anyway, all this in the cultural zone, a very beautiful pavilion that caught attention, very well made. I mean, the contest did it. I do not remember right now who the architect was. Well, but this is the cultural zone. We are interested in the dining and drinking area, the gastronomic zone, which is our thing. Our own. Well, there is a man who had 2 famous restaurants in Madrid at the time, which are the Yoke and the Club 31. And his name is Clodoaldo Cortés. He gets the assignment. He was closely tied to the government. That he is going to be in charge of the Spanish pavilion's gastronomy, he says. Then it complicates. At the pavilion's food area, he'll open a seafood place, 2 bars, one called Madrid and another called Jerez, and 2 restaurants, one called Granada and another called Toledo. Good. Claudio Aldo Cortés, from among 3,000 total applications, selects 198 people and starts making typical Spanish dishes. The paella is a truly impressive success. Just so you can get an idea, 475,000 portions of paella were served. And I imagine sangria as well, though there are American photos of people eating paella with Pepsi and ketchup. That is curious. That is its form, right? Anyway, to the sangria. The sangria hit, it was liked. And so I am going to prepare the formula that we supposedly used back when we were taking the bartender exam for the Spanish Bartenders Association, the ABE. Was the recipe we had to learn for the sangria. Sangria is a wine cup. It can be red or white wine. If white, it is called clarea. It can also be made with champagne, but then it would be a champagne sangria, a champagne cup, just like the one we made for the holidays. Well, let us find a wine that is at least 12.5% and at most 14. I will explain why later. Today is the 9th day of June, which is the day of La Rioja. Although at the fair the sangria was made with Toro wine, we will use Leon. No need for a Reserva or Gran Reserva. A harvest wine that is good. One like this, for example, that I will use from Gomez de Segura. It is 13.5% alcohol, a Tempranillo. You can use Canasta or other wines. Toro, for instance, is excellent. But a bottle of wine. Normally, this pitcher does not hold a full liter. Keep in mind that you have to make it later. Sangria should be prepared in advance. We are going to make it live, but it should not be done that way. We pour the wine. Approximately, we are going to pour up here. We are going to leave a quarter, like half a liter. I am not going to make more. A little over half a liter. You should add a bottle. The correct amount is 1 bottle per liter. What do we need to add? Sugar. Some people add solid sugar. You shouldn't add solid sugar to sangria for 2 reasons. Because it does not dissolve properly, and because it will give you a headache. And it is not going to dissolve, therefore we use our own sugar syrup. How much sugar should we add for 1 bottle? Approximately 2 ounces of sugar, or 50 to 60 grams. That would be the standard amount. If you prefer it sweeter, you can add more sugar. Don't use too much sugar or the sangria will give you a headache. I'm going to add about 1.5 ounces, 2 ounces of sugar, 1 to 1. That should be fine. Sugar, wine, fruit. 1 moment for the sangria. You usually add whatever fruit you like, but it is essential to add orange and lemon. I have the orange here that I have peeled. Adding orange and lemon inside the pitcher. This is something you should do in a container to then put it in the fridge and have it infused for at least 2 hours, as we did with the coffee, so that the wine takes on the flavor. You may also add pears, but bananas should not be added because they turn very dark. Some people say that if it lacks peach, it is not sangria, and there is a reason, because since sangria is a summer drink and now is peach season, you should add a little. Here I have half a peach. I'll add that, plus about half an apple. It is not recommended to add much more fruit, though the orange and the lemon are absolutely essential. Well, my fruit is here, already macerating in my sangria. Now, juice. Orange juice, essential for sangria. Nobody does this. They usually add orange soda. No, fresh orange juice. I will add about 2 ounces for a single bottle, approximately. Now, lemon juice. Just a little bit, because otherwise it will make the sangria way too acidic. Because since it already has lemon, the lemon is to keep the brightness and keep the fruit from looking bad, okay? So I'm going to add about 1 ounce of lemon juice. A little bit, approximately. The juice. Fruit, sugar, and wine. And now the touch. Hardly anyone makes sangria properly. This is how we make it for the poor. But it needs a touch. What is the sangria touch? Cognac. A glass, 1 ounce, or maybe 1.5 ounces. For the wine we added, 1 ounce is plenty. We are going to add that. Cognac. And now one usually adds a liqueur to the sangria. Some people add vermouth. In the white wine version, yes. But for the red one, it is better to add a little bit of triple sec. I'm going to add only 1 ounce, approximately. There. That is all. No more. Our sangria is ready. And now you usually add this type of spice. A single stick of cinnamon. Put inside the sangria. That is it. Well, one more thing. This is our basic sangria. We would place this into a vessel, a container, or perhaps a larger pitcher. We would keep it in the fridge for 2 or 3 hours. If we want it for lunch or dinner, we make it at 12, put it in, and let it infuse for a couple of hours. In the event that we do not sell it all, we would take out the fruit. We would strain it through a sieve so no fruit remains, because that would make it acidic. Then we would store it, and it is good for tomorrow. However, when serving, we would add fresh fruit so it is fresh. We would discard the macerated fruit and not keep it soaking because it has already macerated. Well, this would be the sangria. Now, at the moment of serving, I'm going to show you exactly what to do with the sangria. It is macerated and cold, okay? I found something curious that opened my mind. From Claudio Aldo's East Wing, Claudio Aldo was a genius. Claudio Aldo Cortez, the director, so as not to pay taxes on the alcohol. All the waiters he brought, 198, women, he made them carry anise and brandy. And with that, he had a supply, he used to say, right? We have a supply for the moment. Then at the Jerez bar, he added a Venenciador, which drew much attention. The Venenciador is the one in Jerez who takes a whalebone with a small container and draws from the barrel. From the Jerez cask, he usually pours it by hand into the small glasses. Well, but it is that to top it off, at the entrance of the bar, he placed two men dressed as civil guards, even with a tricorn. And there it was. Running the show, people took photos, asking, what is this? A piece. A chunk. Okay then. Now we macerate. Ice now. The fruit, no. You have to put the fruit in with ice, like it is here. Ice is added when serving. Ice cubes, whatever you like, more or less. We have prepared plenty of wine for this jug. I must have added half a bottle. Okay, ice. And now, we are going to serve it, let's say at the table. So we take it, and at the moment of serving, we add a quick splash of soda to let all the flavors open up. Correct? It is a tradition in Spain to strain it so the fruit does not fall out, even though this spout stops it, to place the classic wooden spoon in the sangria. It is traditional to decorate it with an orange peel snake that I made from the orange I squeezed. I am going to remove this. And then what is usually done is to use the spoon to place the orange snake inside and set it down like this. You are going to place the spoon on the rim of the pitcher. And here is the sangria. Service. It would be served in a glass. It is not needed because it is cold with ice. You can remove it if you want. It would be served in a very cold glass. And here is the sangria, just as they prepared it at the Novel Pavilion. What was called the Spanish experience? The sangria. That easy. That fast, that bad. Serving a little. To your health, but just a small amount. The fruit is eaten, of course. What an aroma. Sangria must smell like wine, not weird things. And the fruit then gives it its flavor. Not cold, but I will fridge it to finish later. Perfect. Not tannic, sweet, or bitter. It leaves an orange taste. Sensation. Thanks a lot. I hope you enjoy it this summer. Sangria is perfect with paella and rice dishes. This is impressive. The best drink of the year.
Of the engine, thank you.